This is things you might not have heard, and I am Jacob and Payne. I have for you in our queue today 8 news stories from yesterday, the past 30 hours or so, that allow me to have a conversation with you because you vetted the stories for this program here. These cover topics that have information, politics, current events, and pop culture news, and you basically made the rundown. We're talking about Jack Smith. We're talking about Marvel Rivals, believe it or not, and Bennifer, the ending, not quite the end, but it's good towards that stuff. Plus, we have 5 other stories queued up, ready to go. Now, the vetting process is fairly simple. You help us pick the stories. We'll explain how it works and get these headlines to you every single day. But we'll remind you right now, our website, this is theconversationproject.com, our main home for everything. Lots of calls to actions to do there. So once we bring it up again, we'll tell you some things to do when you're out there. Plus, you can just keep this in your back of your mind with our email. Your Google machine is always there with the conversation inbox at gmail.com. You can email me whatever you want to, whenever you want to, on things about this or other things if they tend to pop up, because it is about conversations. Let's get into the conversations for stories today. Today happens to be Wednesday, the 8th of January, 2025. No particular order of these stories. We picked them by engagement, but these are just the sort of way the narratives seem to work this way to make them sort of flow better. Starting off with a story we already talked about. We actually did a video on this one yesterday because it was coming forward, and I want to get some things queued up. And this is Kyrsten Sinema, the former senator in Arizona, who's facing some issues. Now, she has lots of issues because, one, she couldn't re-win her seat as a Democrat or as an independent. And 2, now that she's not in the queue anymore for being the senator, people are rattling their sabers about the money she spent on her campaign money, after she said she wasn't campaigning, missing campaign funds and misusing them for luxury travel and just having a good old time. She's under scrutiny following these allegations. The Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, they call themselves CREW, and the Federal Election Commission, FEC, have asserting that she spent over $100,000 in her related costs for travel and other things after she announced she was not going to seek re-election in March of 2024. She kept spending her money from her election campaign, not giving it back, not using for other things. She can hold on to it and use it to help fund other people's campaigns. She can't do what she did, like travel a lot. France, Japan, United Kingdom, and notably California wine country and Boston. I don't know why Boston's all that notable, but these things have great expenses, including some things, $1,300 on dinner in Nubu Tacchio and $3,000 spent in Italy. That had nothing to do with being in the Senate, nothing to do with bringing in new people to be in the Senate, nothing to do at all with her campaign, but it was campaign money that was raised that she just spent. The expenditures occurred, of course, after she said she wasn't running for re-election. And so why was she using money for election campaigns or for just working her job as a senator to just go travel? It wasn't trying to do any extra stuff. It literally was not trying to do anything extra on her way out the door. She just seemed to want to have a good time and had the money to have there. Now, campaign finances is a really big deal. You may not think it is. You may think they just gloss it over, but they do. And people who actually get caught big time. That's where these people, politicians, really have their issue. And so when you're no longer a candidate, you can't spend your campaign money on things that should be not candidate stuff. When you're a candidate, you travel, sure, you're going to do stuff for trips, you're going to do stuff for your for learning things and trying to expand your reach, and maybe even a trip to Japan because you want to get some allies overseas when you come back to home to work on things there. But if you're no longer a candidate, spending your money on your campaign stuff to go travel is a no-no. Her response, that being Sinema, nothing. No public responses, nothing going on. And her spokesperson dismissed all these fights as desperate political attacks against someone who literally has no political power left. Another person with no political power right now and who's kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen going forward is Jack Smith, who had a pretty big cachet of wins going into the Trump case that he took on, 2 cases actually. And now he's trying to bow out gracefully, and it's not quite working out. Here's where we are. Judge Eileen Cannon blocked the release of the special counsel's report for Trump's documents case. Donald Trump isn't going to trial for the documents case. It's not happening. But there was a report and investigation ready to go to do this thing happen, make this thing happen, do this thing. And then Trump got elected for president. And so with time running out and essentially Trump being president in 12 days, basically going to make it all go away because in charge of the Justice Department, he can say, we don't want this anymore. It goes away. Jack Smith had a dilemma. He has to file a report because the taxpayers paid for something. So he has to file a report. That's why the Mueller report existed. Mueller had to do some investigation. He had to do a report. He did a very poor job of speaking out that report in front of Congress, but the whole thing was it wasn't really mattering anyway. Jack Smith has a report, a draft report, a 200-page or whatever draft report ready to go for what happened in this documents case that he tried to release before time was up so that it went out to the public. Eileen Cannon has delayed this. Now, if it gets delayed past the 20th of January, Donald Trump can just say, I don't want to push it out there and not push it. It's there. But the one last shot for the public to see what happened by Jack Smith is essentially being thwarted with 12 days left on the clock to really make this happen. If it doesn't go out by 12 days, Trump will kill it. If it does go out beforehand, we may see something. But the other thing is, it doesn't really matter. He prepared this report because, like I said, he had to. Merrick Garland basically paid him to look and investigate this thing and find something. And so he found something. Just because he can't take it to trial doesn't mean he didn't find something. So what did the government pay for? What did us taxpayers pay for? This report. We already put out a video on this one as well because we were looking at it basically being blocked. It was officially blocked. And many people in the comments are saying, show it, show it, show it. Now, this is all based off your social media. We know Meta's doing some weird things with social media right now, and whoever is in your queue for that stuff. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, based on what conversations go, I want both sides. I'm not getting a lot of people in the way saying to get rid of it, he's innocent, things like that. Everybody wants to see the report. Everyone just wants to see the report so they either can complain about it or say, we knew this all along. It looks like Judge Eileen Cannon's order that's going to postpone it temporarily based off some appeals, which are actually basic. They're good appeals. There are other people who are dealt into this thing with Trump. And if you release this document, they say it actually makes them look in bad light. It makes it harder for them to defend their cases. They may be really guilty, but it makes it hard for them to defend their cases if this evidence is out there attached to this one, especially since Donald Trump will see no actual action against it. We shall see. It's all legal. It's all what's happening. And we will know about something at least in about 20, 21 days, whether we see the report come out first or it all, like everything else, seems to go away. We're going to talk about Marvel Rivals. It's a very popular, very addictive game, team playing, where you get to play as members of the Avengers fighting the good fight against the thrones of evil. But the company behind it, Nexus Mods, is removing the mods or company that helps makes mods for games like this, Nexus Mods, is removing the mods for Marvel Rivals that feature Trump and Biden that replace Captain America because politicizing. They don't want to be in the political fight. And so while it's really cool to take your favorite character and mod them to look like you want to, they don't want to be a part of this for this game here. So depicting U.S. President Donald Trump or Joe Biden as either Captain America, the greatest symbol of our nation, is not what they want to do. So any mods that do not align with their policies on basically related to political public figures, this could be Marjorie Taylor Greene if you want to. It could be Lauren Boebert. It could be Matt Gaetz. They don't want him there. And since everyone seems to want to make Captain America, Captain Biden, or Captain Trump, they're getting rid of all those mods going forward. You may want to look into this one. You may not be a big gamer. You may not get sucked into it. Apparently, people do get sucked into it pretty quickly going forward. It's a team building game, and you get to play as your favorite Avenger. So that's all good. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and of course, whatever version of Captain America you want to, as long as it's not Trump or Biden. But this is something that, in light of the Facebook things from yesterday, where they're trying to be less political by opening the doors for more things, this is a company that's basically shutting some things down to quiet some of the discourse on who is better at what. And you will see how this one plays out because you guys engaged in it. We put it down there as sort of a filler. You guys liked it. We're talking about it. Let's talk about a strike. And this is not your normal strike you expect with, dock workers or truck workers or drivers or machinists. Ski Patrol. The Ski Patrol strike at the U.S. largest resort is causing long lines and terrain closures. So Park City Mountain Resort in Utah is the largest ski resort in the United States. They're having issues. People ain't working. 200 ski patrollers and safety workers are on strike. This is not Teamsters. This is not Amazon. This is not airplane workers. This is not car builders. This is Park Ski Patrol people and safety workers. They began the strike on the 27th of December, basically right after Christmas, right before the New Year, in the busiest time for ski season of the year. And they are looking for wage increase, so entry-level wage increase to $21 to $23 per hour and better compensation for experienced patrollers. So better money for new people and even better money for other people. And the operational impact means about 70 to 85% of mountain terrain is basically shut down. So guests there at the busy time are frustrated because there's limited access to stuff, long wait times, and they paid a lot of money for their vacations only to deal with nothing. So they have a point. But do the strikers have a point? Vail Resorts, the owner of Park City Mountain Resort, has engaged in mediated talks with the union, and they've offered a 4% wage increase and an annual equipment allowance of $1,600 per patroller. Right now, they're still walking the picket lines or skiing the picket lines or walking the snow, whatever you want to call it. This is not your typical strike, although a strike is a strike. We'll see if this one gets resolved fairly soon, but the time that's been lost since the 27th of December is already time that is lost. This is the part where we take a quick pause from the news stories. We're halfway through, 4 in, 4 more to go, and we'll explain how we got these stories in just a moment. But we need to take a moment to ask you a question, ask a request of you to help us grow this thing here. If you enjoy the news coverage that you're seeing from the Conversation Project, whether it's this thing here called Things You Might Have Heard or some of our clips or other things going out there, we need you to show that love so the algorithm can show other people that we are loved. And I see it as well. Like the videos on whatever format you're watching it, whether you're watching on X, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, like the videos, like the podcast, the audio podcasts out there, and of course, share with like-minded people who would enjoy this, especially if you have the newsletter. You can't really like it because it's a newsletter, but share that with people who enjoy this news coverage and may not want to get all this into all this. If you're listening to the audio, all this is me waving my hand in front of my face because you can see it. Or if you're listening to it and you don't want to listen, just read the news. We have that as well. Like, share. It allows me to know that I'm picking the right stories, doing the right things. Gives the algorithm something to push out to the world so more people engage. And if you're not getting me in a normal manner, just someone sharing you every so often or just popping up randomly, subscribe. You don't even have to hit notifications. Just subscribe and check your listings so far. Check your feeds. And every time you check them, see where we are. We're pretty consistent getting out this show here about 6 o'clock in the morning, every single weekday morning, Monday through Friday. So that's consistent. But we see things all day long. We post things all day long in our feeds, videos, and links to things. So just check us out. Subscribe so you don't miss out on what we send to you. And engage with us if you need to as well. A very tragic story where 2 people were found dead in a JetBlue landing gear compartment after a flight landed. The individuals were discovered deceased in the landing gear compartment of JetBlue flight after it landed in its destination. It arrived from San Domingo, Dominican Republic. Oh, it was a flight that arrived from the Dominican Republic. It landed in Orlando, Florida. Authorities suspect that the individuals were stowaways who attempted to hide in the compartment to travel undetected, and unfortunately, they were not able to survive the trip. JetBlue emphasized the cooperation with law enforcement in this investigation, making sure the matter is thoroughly looked into. They also expressed condolences to the loss of life, but stated it could not provide further details due to ongoing investigations. We don't have the as far as we know, not past this look up here, we don't have the identities of the members who were traveling, the passengers who passed in this thing. The extreme risks associated with stowing away are pretty much obvious, and they are repeated over and over again. Gear compartments, including freezing temperatures, lack of oxygen, crushing hazards, all those things could kill you, as they did here. Stowing away in these things are always dangerous and usually result in fatalities or very harsh conditions for your health. So all involved are saying, please don't do this. The investigation continues with this one in particular, but please refrain from doing this. Sheel Seidler, the wife of late Padres owner, is in a lawsuit suing her in-laws to get her control of the team. She's a widow of the late San Diego Padres owner, Peter Seidler, and she has filed a lawsuit against her in-laws in an attempt to gain control of the team's ownership. The legal dispute arose following Peter Seidler's passing, as questions regarding the future of the management of the Padres came into focus. And according to reports, Sheel is challenging the family's trust and other legal arrangements that currently dictate the team's ownership structure. She claims her in-laws are instructing her efforts to assume control, alleging that Peter intended for her to have a significant role in the team operations. Her in-laws are trying to basically freeze her out. This lawsuit could potentially impact the stability of the Padres leadership and their actual future direction as a franchise in general. Legal analysts suggest that the case could hinge on the interpretation of the trust documents and Peter Seidler's final wishes. Meanwhile, the family yet to comment publicly on the matter, but expect to defend their ownership and keeping out the widow of the issue because ownership. billions of dollars is what the Padres believe is owned by, and one major league prominent team from decades. People love the Padres, and losing this team in the battle to basically break it up, if you will, because its assets would be damaging to both the league and to people in general. We will see how this one plays out. This is a very serious, very interesting case dealing with a sports franchise, dealing with sports business, and we'll see what happens. Because in the end, if it's about assets, the easiest thing to do is, like the king did, pull out a sword and say, hey, we'll cut the baby in half. And whoever says, go ahead, cut the baby in half, is probably not really worth having the baby. We'll see how this one plays out. Seeing how this one played out as should be for the good, not quite as good, as Verizon customers are feeling cheated by the payouts from a settlement of $100 million. The problem is many people are receiving about as much as $3.85, which means they're dissatisfied with their piece of the settlement. The $100 million settlement addressed undisclosed administration fees that were levied by Verizon on customers, and the small payouts that are trying to fix those aren't making people happen. The actual settlement finalized in 2024, late last year, and it ran from 2016 to 2023. So if you had some fees that may have been charged you in that span of time, you were due some sort of recount. So it was there. People have put in their tickets to see what they got, and they've gone to social media to say $3.85 is not very much. I'm pretty sure I got charged more. And didn't we win $100 million? Where did it all go? Legal experts note that the class action settlements involving large groups, individual payouts often end up being pretty small. Verizon has not admitted to any wrongdoing, but agreed to a settlement to avoid prolonged litigation. Administration charges rise from 40 cents to $3.30 from 2005 to 2022. So that's a pretty big jump in price. That's, $2.90 in price. So that massive jump, more people being charged these fees and they didn't know about it, or they were charged them without actual being notified. It's an issue. But because they charged them conditionally and only giving people about, the charge of one charge going back, people are quite pissed about this. And we have the Bennifer that was teased, Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck. They're divorced. They're almost finally divorced. They have finalized their divorce. They've in their marriage. It's not quite done in the paperwork. There's their paperwork and stuff like that. So if you're hoping for them, there's still a couple days. But the divorce that was filed in August 20th of 2024 by Jennifer Lopez after 2 years of this marriage, basically going down the line with irreconcilable differences, words I can never say, as their listed date of separation was April the 26th. Now, the timeline is notable because they dated in the 2000s, got engaged, we did the Bennifer thing, split up, got back together after a bunch of stuff, marriage again, and now they're divorced again. In the settlement, both parties agreed to retain individual acquired assets and no spousal support. Lopez will keep the 8.5 carat green diamond engagement ring, which is valued at over $5 million, which Affleck gave her during the second engagement. She keeps the ring. Good for her. The couple's $61 million Beverly Hills mansion is currently on the market, so they can split those assets. That's all great. And Lopez wants to go back to Jennifer Lynn Lopez instead of Jennifer Affleck. She actually changed her name for this marriage. She's going back to being Jenny from the block, Jenny Lynn Lopez, again. Despite the divorce, both are in good spirits and moving good places. Their lives are working well, and they're both actually working for the good. They're committed to their children's happiness and doing things together for those things. But right now, this marking Lopez's fourth divorce, and I guess Affleck's second. He has 3 children with that he also shares some with wife Jennifer Gardner, and Lopez has some kids with Mark Anthony. Officially finalized February 20th, 2025. So we still have a month or so until all the paperwork clears. So if you're hoping for reconciliation, there's hope, but I wouldn't go there. I would let this one ride itself out. Our teaser story for the day is one I'm almost positive we'll get plenty of response on. This one is on the Lake and Raleigh Act, which passed the House yesterday. As you see, if you're watching the video with the headline, 48 Democrats voted for it. All the Republicans voted for it. It's passed the House. It must go through the Senate, who have their issues with the bill. But there's a good chance this thing will be on the desk of Joe Biden in a few days, and Joe Biden can sign this bill. Now, the big words is, will Joe Biden sign the bill? Because Donald Trump said he wants it signed day one. And so if they wait until Trump's in office for 12 days, he's going to sign it. No problem. The Problem is, will Joe Biden sign it? Because his legacy right now is basically throwing wrenches into the works for Donald Trump. That's basically all he's doing right now. Will it happen? We'll see. First, the Senate must actually pass their bill, come together, and then it goes on to the president's desk to see what happens. But we'll talk about this bill, I'm pretty sure, because it's a teaser story. Now, all this talk about teasing, what's a tease mean? We have posted this story in our feeds. Our feeds are our links on Facebook and X. Facebook.com/This Is the Conversation Project. X.com/TH_conversation. And at those places, when you check your X work or check your Facebook work, see what's going on with your family, friends, and that Trump guy, see what we're talking about. And if there's stories there that you want to get into, go deeper into, help us post for tomorrow, engage in it. Click on the emoji that goes with it. On Facebook, it's whatever face you want to do. On X, it's the heart. All it is likes there. Engage in it by sharing it with other people, by commenting on the story. Make sure you read it so you understand what's going on, not just responding to the headlines, going deep into details of the story, and maybe even seeing the source, because it's from different sources. Some of them you may not actually like, but it's the story, it's the headlines. You may not like how it's covered in the source, so that may be your beef on that one. Today, we had the story where we teased yesterday about the imminent release of the report by the special counsel, Jack Smith. As headline was, Trump seeking to block the release. It officially got blocked, so it changed the headline slightly, but we're talking about it today. We'll talk about Lake and Raleigh Act tomorrow. It's up to you. Engage in the story. You let us know what we're talking about in tomorrow's episode. Today, for our sponsor, we're talking about hostage tape. We're back to hostage tape, as New Year, New You is all about us for January the 1st, and we're already 8 days in. What they call quitting day, the first or the second Friday of the New Year, is in 2 days. So you only get to the 10th to see how far you go in your New Year's resolutions, but some people will go further and see what's going on. If your resolution is to get better sleep, then this will help. If your resolution also is to get better shape, this will also help. Hostage tape is mouth tape. It's stretchy tape you put over your mouth. It's meant to close your mouth, keep your mouth closed. And that will, oddly enough, improve your sleep, boost your energy, and enhance your health, because you should be breathing through your nose. So if you are a mouth breather at night, if you've not been diagnosed with sleep apnea, so you don't have a mask, but you do sleep, snore and sleep and breathe through your mouth, that's going to keep you up all night, keep you tossing, turning, and have non-restful sleep. And of course, keep up your spouse and partners. So to save a marriage, save a relationship, and maybe save your life, hostage tape can take on that role. And if the tape on your mouth is just a little too weird for you, they have nose strips as well that also help you open up your airways going forward. The tape and the strips are hypoallergenic. They're soft. They're comfortable to wear all night long and during other activities. You see in the picture here, we need to update this picture. There's a guy on a run. He's got his earbud in. He's got his mouth tape on. So he's going to breathe through his mouth and not talk to other people, not be chatty while he's running his laps. He's taking care of himself, and he's going to get the proper breathing, the proper for his exercise. You'll wake up more refreshed and energized. You'll walk around more refreshed and energized if you want to wear it while you're exercising. And it's just a good thing to know. So hostage tape is it's a product that sells out pretty often. So they always are on the idea for back orders, especially when they do big projects and very big sales. No really big sale, I think is planned at the moment, but go ahead and give it a try so you know you love it, so you know to start stocking up on it regularly. Go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. Get in on this deal because they'll have great deals for you. And the whole deal is you'll sleep better and live better. And this is an affiliate link, so we get a small commission when you actually buy from Hostage Tape. And we thank you in advance for that, and we thank you for taking care of your health as well. The Conversation Project lives online at this. It's theconversationproject.com. We've said that a few times, but we want you to understand what our website is all about. This is our online home where you can see how we do things and how you help shape the voice of the news. You actually tell us what to talk about. We have a newscast. This is a newscast, and we produce it based on what you want to see. We talked about the teaser stories earlier. Follow those links and follow those on engagement with those on Facebook and X. We talk to you in comments for emails and things go back and forth. We look at other things and aggregators that are really important and really big stories. So we make sure the bigger stories are there. We didn't have anything about the fires in California because they're pretty much overtaking everything, but that's pretty obvious. We'll talk more about that when we can get something that's more tangible. Right now, there are three fires. Third major fire that caught late last night. Zero containment. Everyone's in a panic. Everyone's is trying to evacuate. We have pictures of a lot of famous people who live in Palisades, live in that area, who are trying to help people evacuate and warning about their homes as well. So we're thinking about that. And we'll have stories on that in the queue for you to engage in as well. But we also, you guys want to talk about the Bennifer stuff. That was there. We had the stories talking about the wheel well and the people dying there. That was there as well. We also had Kyrsten Sinema. That got some responses, a lot of very angry responses at Kyrsten Sinema for many reasons. And we got that as well. You help us decide what to talk about in the news. So that's from there. Also at the website, links to past episodes so you can see how we have progressed going forward. Links to more sponsors, our partnership page, or if you want to directly connect with us and help us do more stuff, that is there. Just check it out. Many calls to action, many places to find us. If you're watching us on a place or listening to someplace that isn't your cup of tea, go to the website. This is theconversationproject.com and find other video sources, other audio sources, and links to our email newsletter if those are better ways for you to get the news from us today. And today, at least for this part of the program, is done. Wednesday, January the 8th edition of Things You Might Have Heard for 2025 is now done. Thank you so much for being a part of the family, part of the show, being with us. As we say, like, share, and subscribe so that we can share this out with as many folks and you guys don't miss out on a minute. And consider being a partner because it helps us grow and do better. I'm done. Love you. Mean it. Let's do this again tomorrow morning for a Thursday edition with, of course, Wednesday news of Things